sorry. Okay, I'm back.
My apologies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 3 of our journey to self love. This week we are talking.
You ain't no better.
Because I'm looking at her. Sorry, y'all. Okay, listen. This is just what we do, okay? You're gonna get this from time to time, all right? And I'm not cutting nothing out, okay? You're gonna get all this. You ready now?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. Welcome back to week 3 of Sisterly Sparks. We are on week 3 for our self-love journey. I am Orange Spark.
Purple spark.
And Pink Spark.
And today we are talking about self-reflection and self-accountability. So before we dive into this week's episode, we're going to do a mental health check-in with everybody. I've had the most challenging couple of days and not doing so great. But just gotta
You're hopeful.
wait and see. I'm trying to be hopeful, yes. Yes. So laugh to keep from crying. Shoot.
That part.
There you go.
Yeah. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing okay. Today was trying. Very trying, but when people aim low, I aim high. And that says a lot because that used to not be me. So they better be glad. That's all I got to say.
Period.
I'm changed.
Period.
So yeah, I'm pushing through. Keep staying true to myself and not going backwards. So.
Right. And that's the everyday process too.
It
I don't
is
think
because
people
catch
understand
me on the
how
wrong
hard that
day.
is to do and to maintain that to
Yeah.
be in yourself, within yourself, no matter what something or what is thrown at you or what you have to deal with, but to remain solid in who you are, that stuff takes strength, work, time, all that. So big ups.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
hmm But for me, I don't know. Just another week. I'm here. I don't think it's been nothing too trying. I don't feel like I can't remember, so that means nothing happened, I guess. And yeah, right now in this state, I'm extra fine. I'm good. I'm ready.
Period. Well, that's good to hear. And we gonna keep on chugging through with the good, and then it's gonna get better for me and Pink Spark. Um, so with us talking about self-reflection and self-accountability, I think it's only right to um, dive into what does self-reflection look like.
So I actually, I think we can. I think we can dive in each one and say what it looked like to each of us individually, maybe. But I did look up what it actually means, or what is being said for it. It's meditation or serious thought about one's character, actions, and motives. And they said that it was important because it helps you form a self concept and contributes towards self development. So,
Yep.
yeah. And I just told Cora, I also favorited some of the sites that I went to see that I got some information from because it just have like a whole plethora, like it have a ton of information to read and stuff. And I didn't want to write everything down, but I'll share the link or share the page with y'all. But real quick, like it's saying like the self concept they're saying that it's an important part of your identity. And it includes your thoughts about your traits, abilities, beliefs, values, roles, and relationships, which plays an influential role in your mood, judgment, and behavior patterns. So, um, yeah, so and yeah, that can look like something different for each of us, but I wanted to just put out there what the overall meaning is. So I guess I'll kick it off, I guess, for me, since I said the definition. For me, self-reflection, I feel like I do it quite frequently, because I'm always thinking back on situations and what transpired, what was said from all parties and all that, what my actions was, what I did based on what was said and or what somebody else's actions was. And I do ponder on it. Now, I do also feel like, though, sometimes self reflection can cause you to create like bad thoughts or bad influences about yourself, because you could put yourself down based on, how deep you reflect, or depending on what basis you're reflecting on. I just feel like, because sometimes and not now, but before I really got deep into just figuring out a bunch of stuff, like I always overthought or overthink, and so I would overthink and self-reflect so much, I would even bring up all the negative stuff, and that's with me and the other people. And so then I start to thinking like, well, I just start thinking negative thoughts about myself, or negative ways, or say negative things about myself, and that can be dangerous, because then you're not really going towards the self-love part, because you're not loving the things about yourself or whatever. Now you're putting yourself down because you just found yourself in a situation, and just because it's one situation or however many, you choose to not show yourself something that you should give yourself unconditionally just because of a certain instance. So anyway, yeah, so yeah, basically I go to a quiet spot, whether that be in my car, and I just sit in my car longer somewhere, and I have no music, no nothing going on, and I just think about the day or the situation or whatever happened or whatever, and I try to come to a good solid common ground, if you would say, or whatever. I think if it's something that I feel like that um I I could have done better with, or I could have said something differently or whatever, um I write stuff down. So I would write it down. Um and I just tell myself, okay, the next time if I'm faced with whatever, I'll try and do this, because I'm acknowledging that, that it happened and that I did this, and maybe I shouldn't have acted that way. So I'm gonna change. But yeah, I just think, for me, I just need quietness. I need I need space. I need quiet. I need alone, and it helps me to just better self reflect, because then I won't have no outside nothing, no kind of noise around me, to where it's gonna hinder me from really reflecting on everything, and paying attention, and really focusing on what actually, what my act, because I'm only responsible for myself. So um really understanding and trying to see why it was that I reacted a certain way, or why I said something in a certain tone or whatever. So yeah, that's what my part of what my self reflection looks like.
Um, I agree 100% with with your self reflection and kind of what it looks like. Mine is slightly different in a sense. I feel like I self reflect when it comes to situations or past situations or my actions when I'm like on autopilot. So like I definitely need to be alone, but I feel like I self reflect on situations or conversations kind of when I'm like cleaning or doing something that comes easy that don't take too much brain effort. But when it comes to those deeper moments when I like self reflect of like my childhood, my life, like how I got to this point to where I'm in now as a person, as a human being, and just like my heart, a lot of that is through prayer. I pray, I go to church and pray once a week for an hour, but also like throughout the day or when I just feel like I need that moment of just quietness and talking to God, that's when I really ponder and self reflect on just how I am as a person, especially when you go through things that had a negative impact or meant to do harm, and you realize like you're not the way that it should have made you. It brings a lot of grace and gratitude for that because despite what other people do, you can only control how you react and what you do and what you choose to take from that. Um, So that's what self reflection looks like to me. I do it quite often, even when it just comes to those little situations where it's like, okay, like, even with today, like how I said it was a trying day, I had to take a moment to self reflect. Do you want to react or give them the reaction that they're looking for? Or do I rise above it and keep it pushing because realistically, it's not even that deep. Like, they're not even really a factor like that. And I realized to take the higher road, and I was upset for a little bit, and then I kind of forgot about it. And I was like, I just needed a moment. So that's kind of what it looks like for me. I do want to start writing more. I think it would help, especially when things that you forget about, and then it comes back up, and you realize, okay, I feel like I've been here before. And I think writing or journaling it down does help reflect, like, oh yeah, this long ago you went through the same situation with this person, like, and this is how you reacted. So I think it's a good reminder because a lot of stuff happens to where sometimes you might forget or things go through the cracks or you feel like it wasn't really that important until you realize, okay, it was because it came up again. So that's kind of what it looks like to me.
I don't think that I do much self-reflection, but at the same time I feel like I do a lot, but not in a healthy way. So, I think that anything pertaining to self, really, I try to run away from and not have to sit there by myself with my thoughts and my whatever else and do that. But I'm constantly wondering, like, okay, if this is how I meant it to go, or this is how I intended this to be, and it doesn't come out that way, then I go into this like rabbit hole of thinking, and it's not such a positive um, path. But I think that self reflection, if you're doing it truthfully and honestly, it's really taking a look at yourself and um, being confident. For me, it would definitely be being confident in who it is that I say that I am and how I walk through life. Because a big part of mine with it being so negative is believing the lies of what people project me to be. So when I reflect, it's like, well, it did come out that way. Maybe I am like that. I don't try to be like that, or I'm not trying to do that, and that's not what I meant, but that's how it came out. So maybe that must be how I am. So if I'm a really honestly self-reflect, be confident in who I am, and we'll talk about it later, but that also goes back to those core values and who I am at my core, to know that, okay, that's not what you had intended, and this is, being able to look at all aspects of why, sorry, it didn't come out the way that I had planned. So But I think the biggest key is to be honest with yourself, which we'll dive into as well. But you have to be truthful about it. And that even goes against like what I do now, where I'm not honest with myself about how I really am. I'm believing into the lie of what they portray me to be. So although I don't do it, I do want to do it and do it the right way. And it's important to do it the right way and to be honest. And knowing who you are and what your intentions are and your thought patterns and how you move and how you speak, how do you deliver things, how do you even perceive things. And then do you address those things, or do you walk around and do passive aggressive, or do you do head on and just, nippy and evil and just out of anger, and rather than out of love or compassion or giving the benefit of the doubt or trying to hear out the other person. So just being honest and looking at every area and then realizing, okay, I did good here. I was true to myself here. This is good. But also, okay, I fell short here. I could have done this better. I could have, if I wanted a different result, I should have went about it this way. And this would have been better for me as well as the other person that I'm maybe having an issue with, or we not seeing eye to eye, or whatever the case. So that's my little piece. Do you guys have any thoughts on self-accountability? What does that look like, or what does it mean to have self-accountability?
Well, I could say, because I looked that up as well, so I could also give like a little, I guess, definition or meaning for that. Self-accountability, it's the ability to discipline yourself and achieve your goals. Goals of accountable people may include working on physical or mental health, volunteering, achieving financial gain, and developing good habits. So basically just but then I guess a question would be, what would the discipline look like? What's the, I guess, I don't, that's actually a hard question, because I never thought about, because it's not really, because you shouldn't really put yourself down, like if something happens and it don't work out in your favor, or you don't do a good job of handling something or whatever. You don't like down yourself. You don't talk down on yourself. You don't beat yourself up. But I mean, holding yourself accountable, I feel like that could mean a lot of stuff. So one way could be, and let's even take, like, if you take a situation out that you messed up on or whatever, take that away. Just being accountable for just anything involving you. I feel like there's a lot of ways you could do that. One, you could have an accountability partner. You could have someone that can hold you accountable. And I feel like when you have that, I feel like you're more amped to achieve something, get something done, move differently, see things differently, just because there's someone there that can, like, that's rooting you, or that's holding you accountable, actually letting you know in those moments, instead of you, because you could be a procrastinator like me and, just let stuff go, or say, oh, well, like, let's say if it's something simple as me deciding to go to the gym like 2-3 days out a week. I go like 2 days, but then I miss that third one, and I'm like, well, it ain't gonna matter too much. But I set that goal, and I'm trying to achieve something. I'm trying to get somewhere. So instead of me just because I easily say, so I'll go the next day, or I'll go next week, or whatever. Like, have that person, or whether it be um um whether it be, we say have to a lot, right? And we can start changing that to get to. Like, we get to do something instead of have to do something. Like, have to do something is, I feel like that's more of the lines of, like, stuff be mandatory, stuff be like, but sometimes it really don't be. And sometimes we just say that because sometimes we're just wanting to do the things or whatever. But instead of just look at it as, when you say get to, like, you get to go work out. You get to go make money for your family. You get to um have a self-care day. You get to, instead of saying I have to or I need to. No, when we change our word, and then stuff starts changing. So we do need to really watch how we say things too, and the tone that we say the things to.
When it comes to self accountability, like with the definition you said, I think discipline plays a very big role in that. Also, a part of setting a goal. I think for you to be holding yourself accountable, holding yourself to a certain standard or what you said that you were going to do, um, discipline comes into play. And that's when you have those, like you said, accountability partners, where if you were to change your mind or not feel so enthusiastic about whatever you were trying to say that you were going to do, they're there to remind you of that mindset that you were at before you had to change. I think and then I even noticed myself, like how, like with my self reflection, like I'm very emotional, and I didn't realize, like, one day I could feel like this, and the next day, and it could even go down to the next 30 minutes. Honestly, I may not be in that same mindset. I might not be motivated or pumped up how I once was, because maybe some thoughts came in, or maybe like I'm just not feeling it. And if you don't have any discipline or someone holding you to a certain standard, it's easy just to just say, oh, it's whatever. And when you're really trying to obtain a goal, even when it comes to mental or physical or just you in general, especially when it comes to yourself, accountability is very important. And it's good to have those partners, but it's also good to be able to do it yourself. Like, yeah, I have these accountability partners. They've been telling me I need to do it, or I should, or I get to, but like putting that fire back into yourself, I think really does something different. It hits different. And when it comes to that, like just being accountable, it's just like, okay, I set a goal. And if you find that what you're doing is making it more difficult to obtain it, then change the way you're doing it. It's like willing to go back to the drawing board and try different things to meet your goal, despite how you may feel in that moment or what may come up. Um, and realizing like some of these goals may be long life goals. It's not something that can just happen overnight and just be done. It's something that you got to continually work on. So it looks a lot of different ways depending on what it is and the type of person you are. But I think the basic line is being able to obtain it or do it despite everything.
I think for me with self accountability, it'll be not necessarily like Purple Spark saying like you don't want to talk negative to yourself or talk down on yourself because things didn't turn out how you wanted, but kind of goes back to being honest with yourself and saying, okay, like you could have went without saying that. You could have delivered that better, and then holding yourself to a higher standard when communicating with people, or having to have hard conversations with people, and not being so quick to the offense, but being able to hear what they're trying to tell you. And it may be just making sure you're being what we would consider the bigger person, just because you're at a certain place, you know, in the journey where you can do that. That doesn't mean that someone else is, and it's not your job to make sure that they are, but it is. You can hold yourself accountable to make sure, like, okay, I'm gonna see past the attitude, or I'm gonna see past the negative and hear what they're actually trying to tell me. And then just, you know, making sure that you're truly being real with yourself and saying, okay, it may be, okay, I feel like I have good intentions. But if there's a situation where it's like, all right, generally you do, but this one you didn't. You didn't. You operated out of anger. You operated out of spite, and holding yourself to that. And it may be you tell yourself, all right, you have to get past that. You need to come clean. You may have to go talk to them and say, hey, I'm sorry. I came to you out of this place when I should have came from this place, and holding yourself to a higher standard, and just like, okay, you have to do this in order to better yourself. So just, I don't know, just be like, it really goes back to, you got to be real with yourself in order to hold yourself accountable, because you're not always right. It's not poor me, poor me, poor me. It's not, what role do you play, and do you really want to get better, or do you just want it to be woe is me? Because if you want it to be woe is me, there's no point in self-reflecting. There's no point in doing any of the work, because you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to truly make any progress without reflecting, finding your flaws or shortcomings, giving yourself grace, and you're not perfect, but also holding yourself accountable to strive for better and to be better. And it can only help those around you to be better. You deal, Pink Spark had talked about how, because she talked to herself, her self-talk got better. She was able to talk better with others. Now, that's a lot of progress for you, I'm sure, but that doesn't, what is it? Like, how do you say it? It doesn't, it benefited, it was a benefit for you, and it's a benefit for them. But even if they're not in that same place, it doesn't take away from the work that you did to get to that point. So yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. Okay. So do we have any ideas? Well, I guess I kind of just talked about how you hold yourself accountable. Did anybody want to add to how we hold ourselves accountable?
I mean, I feel like you nailed it for real, because I took some notes down for that too. And it clearly said everything you just said. Is saying take responsibility for your actions, behaviors, and choices, fulfilling obligations, tasks, and goals without excuses, acknowledging mistakes and learning from them, holding yourself responsible for your behavior and outcomes, not blaming others for failures or problems. Exactly what you said. So that's, you look spot on, girl.
Right.
Throw me a 10. Look.
I would add would just be like, which I think it kind of falls into it. I think if you can control yourself or your emotions, that's a part of being accountable, because again, no one can make you mad or make you do this or make you do that. People can do something to you, and they might even have intentions of getting a reaction, but at the end of the day, you're the one who has control in how you react.
Yep.
Precisely.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that goes. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go, because I was transitioning.
Oh, you changing it? Oh, just real quick. Another option they said that you can actually do too is starting a win box or drive, and that's basically like just a little box of notes that have like your successes, whether it be small, big, whatever. And so when we do get in those places, when we feel like we can't, like, when we down ourselves or we can't do something, or we get into a mood where we don't want to hold ourselves accountable, or whatever it may be, we can pull one of those notes out, and then it'll bring us back into perspective. It'll change the tone, change the mood, change how we're thinking, and set us right back where we need to be at.
Precisely. Agreed. I think that's a really good idea. It almost has the same effect as when you do affirmations and you put them on the mirror, and you have to like remind yourself, you have to retrain your brain and your thought patterns to the positive. So in self-reflection, we've listed, I'm going to list these, but I feel like we've touched on most, if not all. Evaluating your intentions, your delivery. I know for me, even I've found myself in situations where I'm like, I feel like I'm the common denominator. Well, if you are, you need to self-reflect and figure out what that's about. Your reactions to people, whether that be their attitude, how they talking to you, if you feel disrespected, or if you feel like, however, whatever causes you to react in the way that you did that you were not pleased with. Projections that other people put out there, as well as yourself. And that can be, when you put them out there, ones of yourself or the person that you may be having conversation or conflict with. And really evaluate the root of why you feel so offended or upset about the outcomes or treatments, or what if something was said that really set you off and you had a reaction that you didn't feel you were in control of, which, by the way, you are, because you're the only one in control of your actions. What about that made you so upset? Why are you so offended by the way they're looking at you, or the way you feel like they're judging you, or the way, like, you have to dive into those things. Because a lot of time, I know for me, and I was just told this, but when I feel disrespected, then it's pretty much all bets are off. Respect can go out the window. And yeah, I feel like you really targeted me, and we can go there. Not saying that's right. It's not right. But that is one of those things that triggers me. So I have to reflect, and what about it is so, why is that so, which, not that people should just be able to go around and disrespect you, but why are you so offended? Is it because you're not confident in who you are? Do you feel like they're getting one over you? Or is it that petty, like, oh, you think you better than me, I got to show you not? Like, what about that makes me so angry? So I think there's probably more to hit on and evaluate too, but these are some of the things that you would want to look at while you're in that self-reflection, and be sure to hold yourself accountable with, and being aware of, if you're going into a conversation, if you're going into a conversation with someone. For me, recently, I just had and I'm going to have another experience where I did some self-evaluating today, and reflection, I guess, but I already know off rip that I have to put the delivery aside, where I know I can conduct my delivery. I don't know that they have the same capabilities, and I have to know that where they're coming from is from a genuine place. And even though they may not put it out there as it make you feel like it's coming from a genuine place, I have to believe that that's where that's coming from, and be able to put that aside and filter what's actually being said versus how I feel about it, or how I feel they're delivering it, and things of that nature. So it's important to do, and then to hold myself accountable. Like, okay, you don't get to pop off because you feel away because of the delivery. No, you've gone past that. You can get past that. Like, hear them out, give them the respect that you would want, in return, and do your best to navigate it as positively as possible, and brace yourself for the outcome. So yeah. But also, this brings us into another one, being open-minded and allow space from all perspectives. So you have to self-reflect and say, when you respond to things, are you like, yeah, my opinion matters most, my feelings matter most, I'm right, you're wrong, and that's it, that's all? Or are you willing to hear all sides? Are you willing to hear how your actions, your words affected someone else, whether that was your intention or not? Like, you have to, I feel like you have to be willing to be able to at least see them and hear them, even if the end all be all is you have to agree to disagree. But you should be able to be adult enough to be able to hear, okay, they're telling me this is how this made them feel. This is how they felt you were moving. And you can even, tell them like, oh, well, this is where my head was at. And y'all may agree or may be able to understand, and you may not. And it's okay to disagree. Everybody's not going to agree with you. Everybody's not going to be on the same page as you. And everybody sees things through their own lens. But to allow that space for them to be them and you to be you is important.
Come through knowledge.
Right?
From your self journey.
Get a pen and start writing.
Right. Oh. Once you do the journey yourself, you get some knowledge. You
do for real.
Yeah. She's dropping some jewels because she knows from her self experience.
Right. Facts. But I also do feel like Orange Spark is right with the I feel like most of the time, most of us, we do feel like our way is the right way. What we're feeling is the overall feeling that it should be. And I do feel like we do come from spaces of feeling attacked, whether that be personally or just, well, you not thinking how I'm thinking, or you're not saying what I would say or doing what I would do. So that's not right. So now I'm gonna, just jump on you or just get angry with you because your opinion or your whatever is not the way that I'm going or whatever. And I feel like most of the time we do that instead of realizing, even though we say it a lot, I feel like we don't actually realize that we all are different. We all do have different ways of thinking, different ways of doing something, different ways of seeing things. And everybody is not going to see things the way everybody wants it to be seen. I mean, and I feel like that's where we do have to have that understanding and that perspective and try to have that open-mindedness and trying to at least, even if you don't agree, at least try and understand at least the standpoint on where they're coming from. Nobody does. I mean, nobody's going to do everything 100% right. So you want somebody just slam it down your throat because you don't do something right or you don't say something right or how you should or how they feel you should or whatever. Like, so we have to give that same what we want, what we expect from people, we should already be given or showing or acting like that. Like we shouldn't just think because we feel strongly about something. And I'm only saying that because I do. Like, I used to do that really bad, like, because I do feel like I feel strongly about everything I say, everything I do, like I do. And initially, yes, I would get upset. And I mean, it took me having to, and so when I would be the common denominator in a lot of stuff, like I had to step back and it most of the stuff was because I probably wanted things to be seen my way. I probably wanted things to be done exactly how I wanted because I felt like what I said or what I was doing was right. But That's just in your perspective, though, in my perspective. So it's not yours. So, and I had to, even though I really knew it, like internally, but the actions in the moment, I didn't care about none of that. And so I had to really like, I had to really talk to myself and like, listen, that's why I'm always so big on like giving the benefit of the doubt, because you just never know. And I don't know. I just give more grace now. I do try to look at things and all the perspectives I could, all the different angles I can. I try to be the one to say, okay, well, maybe they was looking at it like this, or maybe I came off like this, or they said this, or I said it this way, or whatever, vice versa. So I always try to do that now, because I understand the impact of us just instantly nagging or throwing fits, or being talking in anger, talking at somebody and all that, just because of a strong opinion that you may have about something, or a strong viewpoint, or whatever. Just because you have that strong viewpoint don't mean somebody else is seeing it as strong as you're seeing it. You're you're mad for what? You're angry for what? You're cussing for what? You're loud for what? That's not going to get them to see your way as strongly as you see it, regardless on how you show that, like how you portray that. So yes, I do think that is one thing that we do a lot, that I feel like we all need to reflect back on, and take a look at it, and try and be better at that.
For me, I say like looking at multiple perspectives really changed the game for me when it came into my journey of things, because I'm still working on it, but I used to be very controlling, because I felt a comfort or a sense of peace in that, and really that's like, I think it's like a fake peace. Peace is being, still and okay with things, even if it's not with your hands on it. And when I learned to look at things from multiple perspectives, not just for myself, but like with other people's, if they're having conflict or conversations and they just need that person that can see it from all sides, I realized to apply that to myself. And it definitely changed the game for me. It gave me a lot more knowledge than I had before. It allowed me to see people as humans, and that they make mistakes and fall short. Um, and it humbled me. Looking at things from multiple perspectives, you have to humble yourself and be willing to do it, because there's a lot of times that I'm right even when I don't want to be, but I also fall short and I'm wrong. And it took me
Mhm.
being wrong in situations and realizing, like, dang, I felt like this or acted like this and talked like this because I thought you were gonna make a decision, or you were making a decision based off of what I thought you would do. And whole time you were going through this, you were going through that, and in response, this is what it looked like. So it just showed, like, and then also, like, you got to fall. I had to fall down a few times, more than a few times, and realize, okay, if I want people to look at things from my perspective, I need to be willing to do that for others. And I think that really changed a lot for me once I did that. And I tried to stay true to that as much as possible. There are some times where that's out the question on certain situations, and I'm working on it. I honestly don't know about it,
We're
though. I
human.
ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna, there's like those certain like areas where you're just like, yeah, no, I am not accepting anything less than that.
Hmm.
Um, and one of those areas is like how you are as a parent or parenting to a child. But that's for another day. Um, I'm working on that, or relationships with like there's just certain areas where it's like I don't know about that one, but hopefully I'll get to that point one day, but not today.
Not on this day.
Not on this
Okay.
day.
Not on this day.
But it is on my mind for future reference. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I think that's even some work right there. Just
Listen,
to,
you could only work on a little bit at a time.
You can.
I would that's where also giving yourself grace at and giving yourself props for even coming doing the work that you're doing right now. Like, you can't expect yourself to fix everything at one time in one
Nope.
space at all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once again, we're human. So just the fact that you even doing the steps to, like, in certain areas, that's good enough. Once you reach that, and then move on to the next. There is gonna be some things because we do get annoyed. We do have our ways. We do have our strong views. So we do have to fight through all that. And
Yeah.
sometimes that take you gotta think how long we've had those feelings, how long we had those ways of thinking, how long we had, we need to think about when we adopted all that. And I'm pretty sure it's been decades. Okay. Yeah, y'all old enough to say decade. At least a decade. At least one or two. But yeah, no, but for real. So just imagine how much longer you have to work through to even
undo all of that.
Undo it or fix it or change it. Like, it takes time. And so yeah,
And
I wouldn't beat myself
experiences.
up. Look, it is what it is. And once again, take me as I am, or have nothing at
Or
all.
nothing at all. Yeah,
What
y'all better
Mary
start
said?
busting out
Shoot.
singing. What Mary J. Blige say? Yeah. Nothing
For
at
real.
all.
No, that's real life
Dude.
though.
All or
Yeah.
nothing.
All or it
You
is
about
what
to
it
change it?
is.
Oh, I thought you were about to change your header.
That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say?
No,
Things
for
will
real.
never be the same.
Mm. No, but that's real life though. I just feel like we all just need to, and I don't know where it comes from, where we feel like we're just we just dominate. I feel like everybody wants to just dominate. Like, we
Yeah.
all, and I'm saying we because me included. I just feel like we just have this, and so we charge. We charge but and
I
that
think
and
it
that comes with, like, that comes with you working on yourself and knowing yourself internally and stuff, and being able to catch yourself in that though, and being able to really quick, because sometimes this stuff needs to be happening. Like, you need to be on it. Like, you need to really, like, because situations and things be happening in a lick of seconds and stuff, or minutes, and you can't take forever, to come up with a response or come up with a logical way of doing something, or seeing something, or saying something in a particular kind of way, or something. You have to, which is why you have to always be working on yourself, because the more you work on yourself, it's just like you learning,
to ride a bike.
right, like repetition. That's
Yeah.
the word I'm trying to say. It's like repetition. The more you do it, the quicker and the more precise you'll be at it. The more you're able to come to a better solution or a better way or something quicker than what you would have. So yeah, I feel like everyday self-reflection, everyday goal setting, I feel like it's needed. And even if it's small, it don't matter. As long as you're doing something that's going to better you or better the way that you see or handle things or deal with people or love or any of that, like, I feel like that's a win. Period.
How do you determine if you're willing to do the work? Like, how would one be like, okay, I'm really dedicated to doing this. I'm really committed to doing this. Like,
When you want different, I feel like, well, for me, if I'm just walking around here and you could do something for so long, and it's like repetitive, and sometimes, like, you may feel some type of way about it, about what you're doing, or routine that you have or whatever. And I feel like when you realize, like, you know what, there got to be more, or I gotta figure something else out, or um maybe I need to act a certain way. Maybe I need to talk a certain way. Um, my tone may need to be different. The way I parent may need to be different. You know what I mean? My viewpoint on parenting, like Pink Spark said, may need to be different. When you have those thought for me, when I have those thoughts, when I'm feeling like I'm not, because I get excited about everything. I'm cheerful most of the time, for real. Like I go crazy, especially in my salon and stuff with my clients. I told them I feel like I'm more excited than y'all, like, all the time. But even at my other job, when you feel like, though, you don't have that same excitement that you feel, that you know that you used to, when you don't.
You get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, you and only you can know that, right? And we could say it as much as we want to, but when you actually get in that process of actually doing something about it, I feel like that's when you know that it's that you're willing to do the work. And so then you could reflect more, then you could plan more, then you could goal set more, then you can, then you can um self-evaluate more, reevaluate more. But yeah, I just feel like when the situation becomes like, what's the word, redundant, or I don't know what word to use, but I feel like you will know. For real,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel like you will know.
it's definitely a feeling. It's one of those feelings
Hmm.
that you just know, and you can try to put it into words, but it's like something just clicked. Like, it's just, you know how some people, like, I just woke up and I just felt like this today, like, and it
Hmm.
has like this overwhelming feeling to where nothing can come to change your mind. I think
Hmm.
that's when you really know, it's like when your mind is set on it, when you start
Yeah.
asking those questions, when you start like taking those baby steps in that direction and notice that you're doing it. I think that
Hmm.
all plays a part, and that's when you really know, like, okay, I'm willing. And there may be times where it seems stagnant, or like it doesn't feel as strong, but it's still there.
Hmm.
Even and then sometimes, especially in the beginning of my journey, I had to put. Sometimes I put myself, or I felt like, situations just happened to where I was put back in those old situations and old ways, and I didn't like the feeling. I
Yeah.
said, I can't believe I used to be like this all the time. I can't
Hmm.
believe this is how I operated. I can't believe I accepted this. And then once you realize, when you go back to something that you walked away from, or you try to move forward from, and you don't like that feeling, that's how you know, okay, yeah, I have to go forward. I can't go back.
Hmm.
Sounds a bit like you outgrew it too.
Yep. Yep.
I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask anyway. So, is it worth doing self-reflection?
100%.
Feel like if you want better for yourself and for other people and for like your life, yes.
Now, if you don't,
And
it ain't.
oh,
Like, if
no,
you
no, go
really
ahead.
don't, it won't be.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just content and you're okay, trying to self reflect and make yourself to go that direction, I
Mhm.
think will only hinder things,
Yeah.
because you won't step out correctly, and then you'll feel like it can't be done. So then you're deeper into your mess. Like, you have to be in this is something you have to be intentional about. You can't just be doing stuff just to do stuff, or feel like someone's making you. No.
Right.
No. You gotta have full intentions,
Right.
because you gotta step correctly.
Yeah.
Everything or
All
nothing at
about
all.
intentionality.
Hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
And do we think that it's logical to require others, or to require it of others, when you aren't willing to do it yourself?
I think that's situational.
I was just gonna say, because I mean, I guess of course, you could say it or you could want it, but I mean, technically, if you're not, how would you expect somebody to handle something differently or to reflect on themselves or their behaviors or their actions if you're not willing to? How do you know that they're willing to? So it's not right for us to, well, in a way, it's not right for us to feel like, well, I don't know, that's kind of a catch-22, because I feel like because we are not doing the work, we can't expect somebody else to really do it. But at the same time, why wouldn't you want to do it? So even if I'm not doing it, why are you not doing it? Like, do you not want better for yourself, even though we should be asking ourselves that question? So I guess uh Pink Spark is right. Like, it's situational. I don't know.
Um, yeah, that's a tough one. I would say like the times where I feel like it's needed is if you're pointing out other people's flaws.
Yeah.
Like if you're telling them you need to look at yourself and how you act and this and that, but you're not even doing the work yourself. Like now you're crossing the line. You focus too much on me and not yourself. That's where I think it comes into play in, because a lot of times, and I think a lot of society, we're always pointing the finger at someone else, and what it's easier to see what someone else is doing, but you're closer.
Mm-hmm.
Self-reflection is a lot closer than looking outward at someone else.
Mm-hmm.
True, it's
Yep.
biblical, baby. Don't look in my eye and tell me I got a lodge and you can't even see the stuff in your eye,
Yes,
Mm.
ma'am.
and then
No,
expect
that's
me to
real
clean it
life.
up. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I will look at you weird, like,
Like how
what?
you know what I mean? Now I gotta
What?
be real with you. Now I gotta read you like a book since you think you
Right.
reading somebody.
That would make a person like start to size you up or start to like think like,
And
hold
that's
on.
when you become a hypocrite.
Yeah.
You expecting someone else to do something that you're not even doing yourself.
And you're not even willing to do yourself.
Mm-hmm. Because you're so delusional and feel like you don't have nothing to work on. I
Right.
think that's the worst part you can be in your journey, is thinking
Mm-hmm.
that your work is done and that you have nothing else to work on.
I feel like there's something in everybody that needs to be worked on. I don't care who you are.
And there's so many different areas to work on.
It
It's not
is.
even just about the one area. There are so many areas that you can work on as a
Mm-hmm.
mother, as a sister, as a sibling, like, just as a person at your
Mm-hmm.
job. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many areas. That's why I was like, this journey is for life. And I used to really think it was a short journey. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get to this point and I'm gonna be good. The devil is a
Right.
lie. That's the biggest lie I could have told myself. And I
Yeah.
was highly disappointed. And it hurt me and it made me stagnant. But now I got back up and I realized this is something that's gonna require my daily attention. Like every day I wake up and make a choice.
Yeah.
And I stick
Because
to it.
because I feel like we would think that initially we think that it would be easy to get to
Hmm.
the point where we're trying to get to. So it's like,
There's
okay, I'm
levels
gonna
on
do
levels.
this. Right. I'm gonna
There's
do this
levels
and
to
then I'm
this.
gonna be here and that's it. But
Mm-mm. Whole time you
I
just got
said,
closer to getting
I didn't
deeper.
tell you to think like that or say that. Let me show you.
Right.
And it's been showing me, okay? It's been showing
Yeah.
us.
Life gonna forever have lessons. That's another thing. I'm like, dang, I'm becoming an adult. I'm in control of what I do. I make my own money. I do and I'm just thinking like, life ain't got nothing on me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Sure
Mm-hmm.
does.
It's called life for a reason, because it's for life.
What? For real.
For life.
For life. Yeah, no, but that's real life. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, what you think?
Um, I don't think that it's logical to require that or to ask that. if you're not willing to do it yourself. Because I think, like y'all said, that we got stuff we got to work on. Period. Point blank. So you're no better than the next person. You're no like, oh, I got that area together. Yeah, but do you got that together? Like, and you may feel justified. A lot of what I have in my head as I'm thinking about that is like, you may feel justified and like, no, I don't need to. It's you. It's you. It's you. It's you. It's you. It's you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is you, but somewhere in there has got to be me too. So I have to be willing to reflect.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I don't find that it's got nothing to do with me. But it may.
I think I do think of that also. I only feel like that too, only when the person is like really have like some extra strong like opinions or something. You know what I mean? And so that instantly, for me, it instantly makes me like go into defense mode or like question mode. Like, hold on, what you doing?
No, absolutely.
Hold on, are you doing that? Are you? And even though I feel like sometimes we shouldn't do that, but that's like a natural, I feel like that's a natural reaction or whatever, because you would want someone to do just as much as you, like the work at least. You should want that. And I feel like now if it's coming like, like good, wholesome criticism or like
there is a difference.
Whatever, yeah, it is a difference because you're gonna take it different too. You're gonna know what the difference is. You're gonna know which way they're coming once they show you or tell you. So I just feel like, so that's again why I feel like Pink Spark is right. Like it is situational. You just have to. It's we're so like we're. I feel like we are complicated but simple at the same time creatures, humans, whatever we are. I just feel like, you know what I mean. It's, I don't know. But I also feel like it can all be so simple too. You know, that's my song. But I really do, honestly, I promise you, honestly, I just feel like everything, and yes, based on how we reflect, how we hold ourselves accountable. We just have to want to make the right decisions. We have to want to do the right things. We have to want to, you know what I mean? Like have good intentions. We have to want to do that. And the more we want to do it, the more we speak it, the more we show it, it'll be easier and people will pick up and that stuff will rub off. Like, and not to say that will be like a quick process or easy or short process to go. That may just think of how long it's taking you to get to where you are. Like, and I'm not saying anybody in particular, but just imagine how long it's taking you to either figure something out or get to a different headspace or complete a goal or whatever. We have to give that same amount of, or we have to allow the space and the time for people to go through whatever it is that they're going through and to get to that. Just watch. I mean, you can see too. You clearly can see, like, life happens every day in front of us with everybody's. You just gotta watch. You'll know if stuff is intentional for them or whatever. So I mean, I don't know.
I think it may look different because I just can't get that situation in my head. And I feel like it would be, it may be me allowing that space for them to say how things, how they felt things came across, or how my intentions didn't line up with the delivery or whatever the case, and it may be allowing the space to see that perspective, but knowing, being confident in my core values, reverting back to those core values and how I operate. And that's me reflecting. That's self-reflecting. That's making sure, holding myself accountable, making sure I walked in that and be able to hear it out. And we may have to agree to disagree. There may have to be,
and that's okay, because at least you wanted to give you allowed that space though to maybe not necessarily reconciling something, but just having that space of, because sometimes we when we act out and when we do things, sometimes we don't give ourselves time to think once again, and we just do things abruptly. We just say whatever it is we feel like real quick, and we justify that because we feel a certain way. We were, so I feel like once things die down, once things cools down, time pass a little bit, you each individual, each whatever, have time to reflect, have time to think about, have time to say, you know what? Okay. I see I see where it could have went wrong. I see what I've maybe said that maybe I shouldn't have, or maybe I should have said it this way, or maybe I should have done this instead of that. So yes, we all get angry, we all get in our ways and whatever, but I feel like once again the next topic is perfect, because I think we do need to revert back to our core values. And to be in the space and know exactly the person that you are, I feel like you also should give that amount of energy for the next person. And so regardless on how the reaction was, regardless on how it came across, regardless of anything, that's just how they dealt with what the situation was. You dealt with it how you felt like you needed to. And just because yours actions wasn't the way of the other person's, don't mean that one of y'all were more right than the other.
right.
So
And you
yes,
got to
give it space.
just because you doing the work, that do not mean that they are. And you
Right.
will come across, well, I hope you don't come across, but know that there are people out here that would rather take that step to their grave than reconcile or make things right, or to self-reflect, or to try to come to common ground and agree to disagree. Their feelings are superior, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not a reflection of you, your walk, your journey, or who you are becoming, or who you strive to be.
Right.
Yeah. Um yeah. Interesting. Yeah. We've only hit an hour, and we pretty much flew through today.
We on point today. No half stepping this time.
Not
At
at
all.
all. Because
At
give people
all.
what they need. They want the direct answer.
Short
Y'all
to
gonna
the
get it.
point, direct. Right.
Literally.
Because take note, and there will be a
Listen,
checklist coming up that can be
rewind,
tailored.
stop, pause, write, play, stop, screen record, do whatever you need to do.
iPhone only.
Subscribe, okay? Like, share, because you may know somebody that may need some of this. Go ahead, feel free, and comment too. We like to hear other people's opinions and thoughts, and where you are in your journey, or how you feel about it, or do you even feel like, you know what I mean, like you self-reflect, or you show yourself, like, how do you show yourself self-love? Do you feel like you're worth it? All that, we would like to know all of it.
Yes. Next week we will be covering the topic of self-healing. So that will be a good episode, and that will wrap up the series for Self-Love Journey. And I think that's a good way to go out, with us already covering in week 1 self-value, in week 2 unconditional love, and then today self-reflection and self-accountability. I think once you take all of those things in, those can be some pretty heavy things. And even unconditional love may not sound heavy, but it can be. So taking all of those, and with
you felt that with your heart, huh? I see.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
But just know that with the self-healing, you're allowing yourself that grace, that space of imperfection, and it just opens up possibilities to be better and to do better, and to know that you are worthy, as Pink Spark has down there. You are worthy to committing to all these things, to having these things, and to receiving these things. And I think it's going to be a kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel. But all of these, each week of this series, everybody can look back at anytime. We definitely welcome you to share them, because going through these steps can help you in life, in your self-love journey. And it's not to say that these are the only topics that you would have to, or things that you would have to cover in order to complete that self-love journey. But this is a great start. This is a great guide that you could use to begin that journey, continue that journey, and to, feed yourself the positivity and the support that you would need, even if it's just from yourself. You may not have outside support, people you can lean on that can speak the positive into you while you're fighting the negative. So we will have accessible a self-love journey checklist, a PDF that you will be able to go through the items and check off, okay, am I doing this? Am I self-reflecting? Am I showing these signs? Am I able to allow that space for, all perspectives, and go through those things? And it may be that you need to go through it once. It may be that you have to go through it a few times. You get so far in the journey, and then you like, dang, I done took 2 steps forwards. Now I'm 10 steps back. Okay, let's pull that back out. Okay, I need to get back on track. How do I do this? Oh, I'm still stuck on this. I checked all of these off, but I'm still working on this. And that is okay. You can use it as much as needed, as many times as needed. Just my hope for you is that you know that you are deserving and worthy of it, and it's worth fighting for, because you are worth fighting for.
Amen.
Sure enough. So real quick, a recap of the benefits of self-reflection. Okay, real quick. So you'll have an increase of self-awareness. You'll have a greater sense of control. You'll have improved communication skills, a deeper alignment with core values, which was just talked about, better decision making skills, and greater accountability. So once again, everything that we touched on here, it just heightens everything. So it is good, no matter if you see someone doing it themselves or not. Don't get too involved with what the next person is doing, because once you do something and people actually see it, you may rub off on those people. So don't be so quick to judge or belittle or get on somebody because of what you may see in them not do. Maybe they're not doing it outwardly. Maybe they started inward and it's just not came to the surface or got out yet. But who's to say? We don't know. And especially if we don't have those conversations, we don't know. We're just assuming everything. So, and sometimes we know what that can do. So, I always just give people just a little grace. And you just do your work. You do what you need to do. Focus on what you need to do. I feel like we focus too much on other people. Focus on you. And then everything else will make its way as it should be.
Yes. Pink Spark, you got any closing remarks?
I would just say, be an example, walk by example, lead by example, and focus on yourself. And just hope that what you do will rub off on someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep continuing to fight and do that inner work, because it is worth it in the end, and it will amplify you in so many different areas. And if you're a parent, or if you're a auntie, uncle, what, grandma, whatever, start with you, and your family, the ones closest to you, will see it, and pass it down and pass it on to kids who you feel like want them to have a better chance, or a fighting chance when it comes to this.
Yeah.
And not just learn it later in life, that they can start doing it early on as kids.
Yep.
Yes. Well, thank you all for tuning in to Sisterly Sparks week 3 of our self-love journey. We were talking about self-reflection and self-accountability. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our Sisterly Sparks YouTube channel. Be sure and go and add us on Facebook, Sisterly Sparks on there. In our bio, you have links to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter, Sisterly Sparks. And let's just get involved. Let's spark conversation. I think we talk about a lot of things that are real life situations that can be applied in real life, and we love to conversation is better with multiple ideas and thoughts and perspectives, and this is an open and safe platform where we can talk about these things. So we would love to hear from you. Please share our videos, even if you feel like the content in a video is not beneficial to you. It may be beneficial to someone who we don't know personally and can't reach. So by you sharing, we may be able to reach them and connect with them. So we would greatly appreciate that. And I hope that you come and tune in for next week, for our final week of our self-love journey, talking about self-healing. Have a good night.
Good night.